Hello everyone, and welcome to our buyer's guide for Star Wars Destiny, where we're going to be talking about how to collect Star Wars Destiny. This is a part of our Learning Destiny series.
And I gotta tell you, it's probably the most confusing part of the entire game. Seriously, I can learn Destiny in 5 minutes, but then you start talking about rarities and sets and booster boxes, and it is really confusing. So we're gonna be ripping off all of the confusion of that, tell you basically all the options that you have whenever you're wanting to get into Destiny and stay current, and really just giving it to you as straight as we can, and that's what we're here for.
Now, in the first few videos of the series, we talked about, or we used the two-player starter. That came out in late 2017. Depending on when you're watching this video, it may or may not be legal. A lot of the examples we'll be using here will be from the two-player starter. And as it happens, the two-player starter, which is right here.
It's called a two-player game.
Two-player game.
I'm sure there's a reason for that.
Some marketing reason.
Because you can play it by itself, I guess.
For me, this is absolutely the best way to get in the game. So assuming there is one of these out, this is the place you're gonna wanna look to get started. This is one of the best products I've seen as a starter for a game. It gives you everything you need to play, very awesome like little rules insert, and really just comes with everything you need.
The two-player game is really the ideal. This is kind of what we've always been wanting with any kind of collectible game or game in general. It's just you know,
a place to start.
What do you need whenever you start a game? One more player, making a total
helpful.
of 2.
So a two-player game.
And then all the stuff that you need, the rules and the dice and the cards. So this is like, you could give this as a gift, or you could buy it yourself, and you could just stay there. Like that could just be your Destiny experience. You could get a new one at once. I think they might do this once a year or once every 2 years. We honestly don't know.
The two-player starter was kind of a special release because we also have the character starters, which I think you have.
Let's look at those too.
And if you're going to get the two-player starter, depending on what they do, I recommend getting 2 of them because that gives you a lot of cards to build some decks, and we'll talk about that in the basic deck building guide. But these are the character starters. They were released recently with Legacies. There were older versions of this that came out with the first set. They've said they're going to release 2 of these each year. They feature a character like Luke Skywalker or Boba Fett. These also function just like the two-player game. Kind of together, they form what I would consider the two-player game.
Yeah, like a Voltron kind of situation.
And so this is another great way to start. You can also mix and mingle, right? It's like you can buy the two-player starter with some of these, and you really have a lot of options. And I think you could literally just play Destiny right there, like you said, and it would be a great experience.
So this is the base level. I mean, I think everybody probably should start like this. Look at that, it looks great, first of all.
I do love this minimal white theme here.
I can't see the camera angle, so I hope that that's good. But we have...
If not, I'm sure we can fancy edit some stuff
Oh
popping
yeah,
up.
I'm sure.
Fireworks and whatnot.
there we go,
now we can see the camera angle.
So the two-player game, this is the Legacy set, and we'll get into that in just a second, what all these sets mean. But this is a specific style of product. You see the white background and the red text. So this is telling us it's from the Legacy set, and these are all the kind of starter level releases for Legacies. So that's what we're working with here. And in any, even if you're starting, maybe this video is still around 5 years from now, the presumption is that there will be a two-player something and then character starters in some form or fashion. And maybe not even the two-player game, it could just be the character starters.
And honestly, even if it's still just this one, someone's selling it on eBay or something, this is a great start.
It's great.
And so really to understand, I mean, these are great places to start. And this is the least confusing way to get into one of these games. But then it's like, where do you go from here? We've been talking about legacies, we've been talking about sets. And so it's worth breaking that down. At this point, the way they've said that sets are going to release for Star Wars Destiny is 3 sets a year. So that's one every roughly 4 months. And a set is a certain set of like 160 to 180 cards that are going to come out. And those starters go with one of the sets. Now sets are in cycles, which is...
sets and cycles. It's basically like doing laundry. 3
sets, right? These are the sets that came out in this year, kind of a thing. And so, I like your laundry reference there. But, so...
Caught in the wave.
The first cycle is set 1, 2, and 3. The second cycle is set 4, 5, and 6. The third cycle is 7, 8, and 9. Sort of like the trilogies in the movies, right? And there are a couple of different formats that happen, but the main format that I think they're going to be pushing is standard, which is the most 2 recent cycles that have been released, right? Okay. The 2 trilogies that are released. So when set 7 comes out, it's 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, and 3 are no longer legal for tournament play.
It'd be nice if that happened in the movies too.
That's a great joke, man. I wasn't ready for that. So within each set though, sets come out in what are called booster boxes. And so a booster box, I think we have one of those too, is a sealed box of cards.
Look at that thing.
And then the box itself contains 36 booster packs. And this is what makes the game collectible. So similar to a baseball card baseball card game. Baseball cards. Packs come with random cards and a random die. The die is associated with one of the cards in the pack. Now, every card in the pack is going to have a rarity. The most common cards are blue. You're going to get 3 of those in a pack. Uncommon cards are yellow on the bottom right corner, and you're going to get 1 of those in a pack. And then you're either going to get a rare or legendary. Now, rares are green, legendaries are purple. The way that works
Remember
is...
that from my WoW days.
Yeah. On average, every 6 packs, you're going to get 5 rares and 1 legendary. And every booster box that I have ever seen opened has had 6 legendaries in it. So if you buy a box at a time, that's one of the recommendations we're going to make in a minute, you're pretty much guaranteed to get 30 rares, 6 legendaries, 36 uncommons, and then 108 commons, I think is the math on that.
That is a lot of information. That's like an amazing amount of information. I've never consumed so much information in a single 1 to 2 minute period in my life. So
I think that's what makes it confusing, right? Because you have all that in a set, and then you have a new set coming out every 4 months.
Right.
And if you're just now, at this moment, there are 4 sets out. So if you're just now getting into the game, where do you start? How do you keep up? What do you go back and buy?
Let's hold the phone here, Zach, because this is just like I said, it's a beautiful shotgun blast of info. We're gonna reverse it here. Start here again. Okay, so if you're starting the game, starter products. Like, specifically, if you love Boba Fett and you see Boba Fett here, then you buy the Boba Fett starter. If you love Luke Skywalker, buy the Luke Skywalker starter. So get your starter products. Start with a 2-player thing if it's out and available. And then you can have any number. You could buy 2 to 3 character starters a piece and just play around with that, learn the game, etc. So we're assuming that that's how you start. You learn the game. You get the fundamentals down, right?
Sure.
Okay, we've done that. So now we go to we graduate.
Up a level.
So then the next thing is, so if you want additional cards, so everything that's found in the starters is kind of its own little starter rarity. It's like a standalone fixed kind of thing. But then you get out in the wild world of random chance, where all of your favorite Star Wars heroes and villains are potentially a pack away.
Or many packs away.
And the key thing about them is it's not guaranteed. Like if you play a living card game, or if you're used to buying board games, or if you're used to going to the store and buying a carton of milk, and assuming that you're gonna get what you pay for, with the collectible model, you're basically buying a shot at getting something that you want. And so what that leads to is buying a lot of these. That probably is going to happen. Doesn't have to, but human nature is not too far evolved from wanting to press that button many times.
I'll take a $3 pack.
The second thing is that you maybe buy a few packs at a time. You open them, you see what you get, and it's super exciting. And let's say I love Darth Maul. Let's say that, right? And I know that in the Legacy set that there is a Maul. Is he legendary?
He is legendary,
I think he is legendary,
as you might imagine.
And so I might open packs, and I finally pull them all, and it's just this, it's kind of a scavenger hunt. Not even a scavenger hunt, because that's more planned. It's just a treasure hunt, is what it is. So you feel that kind of like rush of, at any moment, you could get this thing that you've been searching for a very long time. What it also leads to is trading. So let's say I open a bunch of cards in a booster box. I can trade with people, and I can get them all that I want, and I can trade you the Vader that you want, and everybody's happy. So this is the basic currency of the game. And as Zach said, there are various sets that release every 4 months. They'll all have different cards in these packs, and they will all have different packaging and whatnot, so you can identify them. And then all of these packs, really, usually when you're buying for real, like in Destiny, you're buying by the box.
Sure.
And that's for the reason that you mentioned. So, for instance, if there's a booster box on a table somewhere, and there have been 11 packs taken out of that booster box, it is possible that in those 11 packs, there were already your 6 legendaries.
Sure. So your odds of getting a legendary out of the other packs is none.
So every pack. So if you see it, like local stores a lot of times will sell by the pack. And what that means is that if those 6 legendaries have already been taken out of that box, the remaining packs, there's almost zero chance of a legendary card.
Sure.
So buying a booster box guarantees that you're going to get those 6 legendaries, if that is an important thing to you. Or sometimes it is, or it's not. Because sometimes I like buying random packs,
sure.
like I used to do
people do that.
As a 12, 13-year-old, and I had a great time with it.
So then the question, once you know all this, for me, the question becomes, you get the starters, you've learned how to play, you understand how these sets are released, you understand where these cards are. Where do you go from there?
Well, okay, I'm glad you asked. So the first thing is, once I've learned to play, and I want to look and see what is the current set that's going on. And this is important for a number of reasons. One of them is that the current set is what all of the current player base in Star Wars Destiny, everybody who you're going to find is playing the game, will be at least moderately, if not very interested in. So if you look at some of the old sets, a lot of players have already collected that set. They already have all the cards that they want. So if you go, digging through those sets and opening booster packs, the cards that you get aren't going to be worth a lot to other players who might already have those cards. Whereas with the current set, most every player is going to be trying to get the cards that they want out of that set. They haven't had time to really fulfill all of their collection. So the cards that you pull are more valuable because you can start to trade them with others, or even just because the secondary market is buying them, right? So there are players looking for the cards actively. And of course, we understand the classic buying and selling mentality. If there are a lot of buyers out there, then you as the seller or as the trader have a lot more power whenever you open these cards. So the current set is key.
Secondly, it's also going to be the set that has the longest amount of time that's going to be playable for you. So if you're just not getting started, you could technically buy a set right before the next set comes out, and it's going to make that set not playable anymore.
Right.
And so you definitely don't want to do that. And a lot of the sets, while they have different cards that do very different things, will give you the similar kinds of tools.
Yeah.
So the particular set is not as important as probably the most current set.
Because the thing to remember is, let's say we're on set 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's say that's the kind of the 2 cycles that are open. And I get in on set 12, and set 12 is out and it's happening. If I buy set 7, within a few months, 7, 8, 9 go away, and it's only 10, 11, 12, 13 that are now active, the beginning of that next cycle. So you don't want to be stuck in that position where you just spent your money and you got super excited about these cards that you can now no longer use in the standard kind of play tournament environment. So that's why you really want to start with the current set. But how do you start with the current set? What do you buy? What do you go out there and buy?
So my if possible, the best thing you can possibly do after the starters, in my opinion, number one recommendation, no matter what time of year it is, what sets are out, you don't need to know any other information. You know how to play, you have your starters, is draft.
Draft.
So
Draft, he says.
Draft is something that was recently, kind of pre-released and will be out soon. Right now, the draft starter is called Rivals, and I assume that is something that they'll put out at least every year or every other year. And basically, it's kind of like a starter, fixed cards, and draft is a format of play. And we'll have a drafting guide in this series so you can learn more about that. But effectively, the way it works is you bring your starter, everyone brings their starter, and you get 6 packs of cards, and you're going to open those up.
6. And
you're going to draft them, kind of like in an NFL draft or something. You're going to pick cards and pass them around, and that's what you're going to build your deck out of. So as long as you know how to play and have that starter, you need no other cards. There's no disadvantage for not having 2 years worth of cards. But even better is that it lets you start collecting cards.
That's right.
So instead of just buying random booster packs, now you're both buying cards that you get to use in an actual event, and you get to meet other players, and you get to be a part of the community. And finding those players is really important. And a lot of times I've seen in drafts, newer players tend to get a lot of the cards.
Yep.
So as someone who's been collecting the game the whole time, I'll have a stack of commons, uncommons, and rares that I don't really need. And if there's a new player at the table, I'll just hand them my stack. And so it's a really great way to just start building your collection, meeting players, and get right into playing the game without having to buy hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of cards.
That's right. It makes a secondary game out of the collecting itself, which is absolutely killer. And here's the thing. If you're looking for places to draft or people to draft with, first of all, a local store, like look up your game stores, comic shops, that kind of thing. See if Destiny is supported and if they have draft tournaments. Any store worth their salt is going to be heavily bought in on draft, I guess, from our point of view. But then secondarily, if you and some friends want to get into Destiny, you don't have that kind of local support, you can just buy a booster box, like this thing.
Of whatever the latest set is.
Of whatever the latest set is. You can buy the Rivals starter, the draft starters. And then you can get some people around and open that box and do a draft at your house, at a coffee shop, at
wherever you want.
Wherever you can be.
I've seen that go a couple ways, right? Which is I'll buy a box, I'll draft it with friends, I'll keep the cards. Or we'll go in together as friends, buy 2 or 3 boxes, have a couple drafts, keep the cards that you draft, just like you would wherever you're at. But that's also another really great way to just kind of dive into the game with it, again, without having to know all the cards and buy all the stuff. And there's that option too, which we'll get to. But
so
drafts are great.
Now there's also a format which is a sealed format, and I actually am a huge fan of this as well. And it's a very similar kind of thing, but you get the same starter, the draft sealed, whatever we call it, starter.
Draft starter.
Draft starter. Why is it called a draft starter if you can not draft with it?
I don't know. Maybe there's another term
Or maybe
for
it's
it.
called like a sealed draft. Maybe they have a fancy name for it. But you buy that, and then you get 8 booster packs, so 2 more, and then you open all of them yourself.
You
and
keep all
then
those cards.
You keep all the cards, and you build a deck on the spot out of those cards, and then you play against people who have done the same thing, which is incredibly cool. And that is another way that you can have this little mini game where you don't have to go out and buy a collection. You don't have to build a deck, a super competitive deck. It all happens right here in real time. You're having fun. You know, all these decks are not going to be super high powered because you have literally 8 packs that are randomly put together to build something worth playing, and then you get to go.
And I have just as much fun playing that as I do.
I have as much, if not more fun.
If not more. I don't want to go more. I'm at least equal. It's at least parity. And then another thing that's worth mentioning are what are called singles. And so you can find these online. We have them on our store. You can find them a lot of times at local stores. But this is people that are selling, and even on like eBay, individuals selling. They're after a draft. I don't need my extra copy of Maul, so if Steven wants it, and I'll sell it to him or trade it to him. But you can basically just buy the cards you want. So if you have, I understand, I'm a huge fan of like Darth Vader. So if I was just now starting, I would absolutely want to buy every version of him. So you can, while you're grabbing your booster box or while you're buying your draft starters, you can go ahead and throw in, the singles that you want, particular cards, maybe Vader's lightsaber, if we ever get that as well. And you can just get exactly what you want. So again, once you get the starters, once you know how to play, looking for drafts, you're looking to pick up maybe a box of the latest set, and you can also supplement that with singles from any of the sets with any of the cards you want to play.
I mean, and I would, if it were me, and it is in this case, I would probably do like 5, 6, 8 drafts. I mean, that's where I would go.
I would just keep drafting.
I would keep drafting because you kind of spread out what can be an intense cost, right? So you spread that out, and then you also have this collection that's building over time. And so by the time you're done with 8 drafts or a sealed tournament
you're
or
ready
something,
to build a deck.
You pretty much have your collection. Then you can go and say, I need these cards as singles, or I need to trade for these cards, and you've pretty much done it.
And honestly, the starters, that's why we recommend them so highly, the cards are so good that you don't really need anything else. Like, I got beat last week at a tournament by a guy who only had 2-player starters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is pretty excellent. So once you've kind of done that, right, starters, you're doing some drafts, maybe you bought some boxes and have your collection. The next part of it is keeping up.
Keeping up.
So
you don't want to fall behind.
Sets are going to keep coming out, and there's a lot of ways that you can go about continuing to kind of stay up with the game, whatnot. Draft being one of them.
Draft is killer. So anytime a new set comes out, basically, if you're watching this, there is a current set, and there's probably the next set has already been announced. Like the intent of, I think, the marketing for any collectible game is always to keep that fire hot. Keep people excited about the next thing and the next thing. So there's probably a current set and there's definitely a current set. There's probably a future set that's been announced, and there's probably already pre-orders and stuff up for it. There's probably already a lot of excitement about it. So what should we do?
Well, there's a handful of options. So it really depends on, again, I think you can be as minimal as I'm just going to draft when it comes out, right? A new set comes out, I'm just going to draft it until I have my collection. I'm ready to go with whatever deck I want, maybe supplement with some singles and whatnot. But there's the next layer up for me is booster boxes.
Yes.
And so there's a number of ways you can get booster boxes. You can obviously get them at your local store. If you're in Tulsa, we'd love to have you at our store.
We've got them.
A lot of times they'll have them on release, and depending on supply, you can pre-order them or get them on release. You can also find these online. So there's some kind of deep discount online retailers who...
There's a lot of them, actually. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there, really, and there's a lot on like eBay. There's a lot of the Amazon Marketplace thing, and this is just basically moving boxes as cheap as possible. So, I mean, you've got Amazon, Miniature Mart, cool stuff, Artificery. We like Artificery quite a bit. There's a number of people out there that are selling these boxes. So if you want to find it, I mean, what is the lowest price? Around like $89, $90 for a booster box?
Somewhere in that range. And a lot of times with those, if you order over $100, you can get free shipping. Yep. And that shipping, the free shipping is like the 2 week.
It'll get to you, maybe.
It'll hopefully arrive at some point. But then we also, a lot of what we do here is trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get into a game, to play a game, because we think games are great. But we have a subscription for boxes. So if you don't want to worry about pre-ordering, paying attention when sets are coming out, guaranteeing you're going to get boxes, dealing with it, you sign up for a subscription, we charge you a week or two before release, and you're going to automatically receive those boxes as they come out. We try to get them to arrive as close to the release date as humanly possible.
We're getting close. We're getting very close to release day.
And you know, these releases happen, they have street dates, so they'll come out usually on a Thursday, and our goal is to get them to you either on Thursday or as close to Thursday as possible. Yeah. And that's how the subscription.
So it's a bit more, you pay more, but you don't have to worry about pre-ordering and locking things down and when's the next set coming out. So if you're a convenience person and you just don't want to mess with all of that, subscription is the way to go.
And there's some weird stuff, like if you know, you order with other stuff, pre-orders waiting or ordering months in advance. So again, if you just want to not have to deal with it, subscriptions are great.
Now, a lot of our lives
the
are
next
just
layer
that.
up is how I collect Destiny, which is just kind of the way I do it, which is
certified, stamped.
Certified, put a Z on it, is the Saga Set. So a Saga Set is, every time a set comes out, we offer Saga Sets, and you can basically get everything in the set. So it's 2 of every card in the set, 1 of every legendary. So 2 of all the commons, uncommons, and rares, and 1 of the legendaries. And these arrive, you know, within 1 or 2 weeks of the set coming out typically, and it'll say on when you're buying the product.
We're also trying to get faster on that.
As fast as we possibly can.
Ideally, all of them show up on release day as well.
That is the goal.
That's the dream.
But what I do is I pre-order Saga Set, and at this point now that draft's an official format, is a set comes out, I'll draft at my local store, which happens to be here.
It's very convenient, huh?
It is convenient. But I'll just draft, and I'll start building my collection, and I'll have a Saga Set that I know is coming, usually within a week or 2 of release. And I supplement the Saga Set with whatever I'm drafting, because drafting I can pick up the extra legendaries and trade for the legendaries I really want, and then I'm squared away. And then kind of the final tier of that is if you just want to get everything, don't want to deal with random boxes. I know I had some friends posting, bought 6 boxes, which should be enough to basically get a place out of everything, and it's like pulled no Yodas out of this latest set. And it's like,
that's nuts.
That hurts. But there's a lot of people that just do 2 Saga Sets. Within a week or 2 release, they have everything.
They just get the entire set.
4 of all the commons, uncommons, and rares, and 2 of every legendary. Don't have to worry about any of that.
So you're telling me the old Z-Bun strategy is new set comes out. First of all, before the new set comes out, pre-order a Saga Set. So that is, you're guaranteed to at least get 1 of everything, 2 of most things.
Yep.
The only thing you're not getting 2 of is the legendaries, which there's 17 in a set usually?
Yeah, there's usually 17 legendaries.
Okay, so otherwise you have the full collection, and then you start drafting, you build your collection up, maybe you trade for some things, some other legendaries to get multiples, and then the Saga Set shows up in the mail, got a beautiful insert, it's got everything organized, and now you essentially have everything you need from the new set, and you're ready to start building.
Yep, and then if there's particular cards, I like to have a lot of decks built at once, so if there's particular cards I definitely want to have extra copies of, I'll pick up some singles, or if I didn't get legendaries with draft or through trades, then I'll definitely just go ahead and grab those through the singles market. But that's how I'd like to do it, because I also like to play constructed.
All right, and then we have the singles, right? So you can always pick up the singles at the end there. So booster boxes, you have your local stores, you have your deep discount retailers, buy a lot of stuff, ship it, and sell it for as low cost as possible, so they're making their money on volume. And then you have our subscription service, which is I don't want to worry about stuff. I just want to get cards when they come out. I want the boxes to show up to my house. I don't want to have to keep up with all this. And that's the subscription model that we have. And then past that, you have Saga Sets, which are essentially little mini collections sent right to you.
Yep.
That's 2 of every card, 1 of every legendary. And then you've got past that, singles. Basically the options.
That's the pantheon of how you go about it.
All right, so when do you buy old cards?
When do you buy old cards? Or
do you?
You do. To me, I think the best approach there, it depends on how into it you get, right?
Yep.
Like if you're really getting into Destiny and you want to play constructed, I think some options are obviously buying boxes of old sets. Like we don't offer Saga Sets past a certain point. You can buy singles for the cards you definitely want from the older stuff. A lot of times too, you can find collections. So someone kind of getting out of the game, or they had extra of the stuff. And so that's on eBay or on random Facebook groups and stuff. But I mean, it's tough. Like if you want to go the box route, if you have the randomness, I really recommend the trading, looking for a collection, or buying singles from the old stuff if you can find them.
Makes sense. Can we finish this? I just want to open this.
Yeah, what's in it?
It's been burning a.
All right. You want to? Hey, we used to do unboxing videos. We could just live unbox this right now.
This is the worst pack opening I've ever done too. That little tab just didn't work. All right, so this is a booster pack. So
that sound is just great for this audio.
I'm sure it's good.
Shield the sound. Can you make more noise? What is happening here?
I'm opening it like a 5-year-old. Okay, check this out. So the first thing you'll notice is you will have a die.
Ooh,
and that corresponds to your rare or legendary. So the rare and legendary cards, they're always associated with a die, for now, aren't they?
Yeah, we should have maybe said that
previously tonight.
Earlier.
Then you have a little cardboard thing that most of the time is doing nothing for the die, at least.
Just protecting the cards, because if you have the die in there with the cards, they could easily
They used to have the little galaxy flat. They don't have that anymore.
They had an insert where the die would go, and then I remember I started opening boxes and they're not even in the insert.
It doesn't work.
What are you doing?
All right, so you have the die, and that corresponds to the back card of the pack. Palpatine. Look at him there. Look at him. Darth
He's
Sidious.
great. He's underrated, I'll say that much.
I see in the bottom right corner is green, so that tells me this is a rare. So this is a rare card. You're always gonna get a rare or a legendary, so I didn't hit a legendary that time. And then after that, I'm gonna go from the back because it's more exciting. You have the uncommon, so that's yellow. So we have an uncommon card here. And then we have 3 common cards. And that's basically what's going on in the set. Now each set has the distribution of the 17 legendaries, some amount of rares that I don't know off the top of my head, uncommons and commons you might know, Zach. But this is the way a pack looks. So you have your packs and you open them, and that's what you'll see in a draft or a sealed format, any of that kind of stuff that's it. We just had the experience together. So wrapping it up from the top, let's, also you guys, if you notice, Zach and I'm recovering from a cold and you are trying not to get one.
Well,
so
Oklahoma did the nice, it got real cold, which was awesome because all the bugs died. And then it got back to 80 in like 2 days.
It's basically a tropical paradise now. All right, so
run it from the top. So you start with the starters.
The first thing that I'm looking for is the 2-player game, no matter what format or formula it's in, 2-player game. Then, if there are characters in the character starters that I really want, there's going to be a lot of these running around for various sets. If you see one, if it's a Boba, if you're a Boba fan, get the Boba one. If you're a Jar Jar fan and there's a Jar Jar starter, get the Jar Jar starter.
Hopefully not.
No shame in that. There's no shame in the jar. Okay, so there we go. So now we started. We got those products. We got hopefully somebody. We found a friend. We are learning to play. We have played a bunch of starter games. We're super excited. We can start to mix and match some things.
Then you're looking for boxes from the latest set, whether that's through drafting being the #1 recommendation, or just booster boxes of the latest set, and you can keep going back as far as you want.
Yeah, so you can buy basically cards and whatever, and we think you should draft. The Rivals set is what's for Legacies. Any of these draft sets for the most recent sets is what you're going to be looking for. So draft. Get your cards while playing a game at the same time. Draft sealed. Oh, draft sealed, yes.
And then at that point, it's just about keeping up, right? So you can do that through buying boxes. Just keep playing draft. You can get a booster box subscription from us. You can buy Saga Sets.
And I should tell you, if you join our newsletter, which is an old word, we need a mailing list that's even older. If you join our email,
if you give us your address, we will send you physical mail. Once a month.
Anyway, you hop on that. We'll announce whenever the new set's coming out. We'll tell you when the Saga Sets are for pre-order, and you can jump in and get yours pre-ordered. If you just want to start the subscription, that's there on our site. Or if you're really, really money conscious, I mean, if that is the driving factor, if you're only playing the game because it is, you want it to be as cheap as possible, then look for deep discount online retailers. We mentioned some of those. They're going to have the cheapest boxes in your local store. Obviously, a lot of benefits supporting them as well, because let's face it, that's where a lot of us are going to find our player base.
Honestly, cheapest way potentially just to keep playing is draft.
Yeah. Yes. And hey, a lot of times your local store will have the cheapest box depending on shipping and all of that. So please don't discount the local stores like ours. Come to Tulsa and come see what we're doing.
That's right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, keep playing.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We have more videos in the Learning Destiny series conveniently wrapped in a YouTube playlist, so you can find them over there.
Or if you want an even better experience, head to our website for the Learning Destiny series, where we have blogs and deck lists and really just a format that makes it super easy to learn how to play Destiny.
It is better.
Thanks again for watching, and until next time, keep playing.